All right, today's going to be kind of a longer lesson. We're going to kind of go into area and perimeter of polygons. And we're actually, since we just kind of finished up talking about all the properties of the special quadrilaterals, we're going to start with the area and perimeter of those shapes. All of them have formulas, so we're going to look at the formulas. And the goal here is we're going to be on page 102 and 103, and I kind of have this set up like this. So what I've done is I've cut each shape out of some colored paper, and I've got some. If you're in class, you can get some from me. And what we're going to do is we're just going to tape them in, and they're going to be kind of just like flip doors for us. So I'll get my document camera shared with you, and we'll get going through this. So like I said, we're on page 102 and 103 in our notebook. And we're going to title this Perimeter and Area Formulas. On both sides. So perimeter and area. Perimeter and area. Okay, and so I'm gonna take each card or each one of these. I'm gonna write the shape on it, and then I'm gonna tape it in like a door. So this is a square. We have a kite. This would be a trapezoid. A rectangle. This is our rhombus. It's just a little bit off, I think. Try to get them as close as you can to perfect. Parallelogram there, and then this last one is our isosceles trapezoid. Okay, so we've got all of our shapes. Now I'm going to take some tape here, and we're just going to tape them in. So we'll start with parallelogram. My rhombus, rectangle, and square we're going to put on this page. So all four of these kind of go with each other. There, so you get the parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, square. Just so you can see it. Okay, got all those there. And then over here, we'll put kind of the shapes that are just kind of by themselves. So you got a kite, a trapezoid, and then the isosceles trapezoid. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a pin here, and I'm going to trace around them so that when I flip them up, we can kind of see so I've got that isosceles trapezoid. I can flip it up and I can still see the shape of my trapezoid. Okay, so take a few minutes here and get those traced around. Now, you don't have to memorize the formulas for all of these, okay? You can kind of figure it out on your way, but having the formula memorized definitely helps. Helps when you're trying to figure out area or perimeter of these certain shapes. And eventually we're going to look at these shapes on a graph and try to find area and perimeter from the graph. So that'll kind of be one of the last things we we do in this unit. If you haven't already watched the previous lessons, you need to make sure that you go back and get those watched. Okay, so we've got them all traced here. And now we're just going to take a closer look at each one, kind of one by one here, and doing the formulas. So let's start with the parallelogram here. And I will keep the pin, and we'll just do it all with the pin. So flip this up, and on a parallelogram, we know that opposite sides are congruent. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to label my opposite sides. So this is A and this is A. They're the same. This is side B and this is side B. And we also have one other thing, which is called the altitude or the height of this figure. And a lot of these will have this. And this height is perpendicular to a base. Okay, so we've got a 90-degree there, and then we have this. This is called H. Okay, and what happens if I cut this? This kind of makes a right triangle right here. If I cut this off and put it over here, I end up getting a rectangle. And we know how to find the perimeter of this thing and the area of this thing. So perimeters just add up all the sides. So you have 2A plus 2B. Okay, you got B plus A plus B plus A. This is simplified, the simplified version. To find the area would be the same as the rectangle. So again, if I cut this off and move it over here, you have B as your base times your height, which is this height. It's not what A is. Okay. And this kind of concept applies to almost all of the parallelograms. Okay, so we're going to go to rhombus. And again, we're going to label some of these. Okay, so all the sides are the same. So we got A, and A. So to find the perimeter, you take 4 times A, or add up all the sides. Whoops, sorry. You're just going to add up all 4 sides. Now, for the area, there's a few things we could do. We could do this formula over here if I had the height here. Okay, let's say the height might be something like this. If I had that height. So there's a few different formulas here for area. So I could do AH. A lot of times they give you the diagonals. Okay, and our diagonals are perpendicular. Okay, so we might have D1 and D2 diagonals. These are the whole length there. And what we could do is kind of treat it as a triangle and take 1/2 your diagonal 1 times your diagonal 2. Okay. And what that ends up being is just A squared. Okay. So almost treated it like a square with all the sides being the same. Okay, then we have a rectangle here. Okay, and again, we have opposite sides that are the same. So we label these usually L and W for length and width. So again, you do have 90-degree angles here. So with the perimeter, you have 2L plus 2W. And for the area, you have L times W, which are the same formula as up here. Okay, we just put some different letters on it. Okay. For a square, you have all sides the same. So we'll label them all W in this case. The letters don't really matter. That's why I'm choosing different ones. So W everywhere. And the perimeter here is 4 times W. Okay, because you got 4 of them. And the area would be W squared, or W times W. Moving over to the kite. Okay, with the kite, we've got some different sides being the same. So this is A, and this is A, and this up here we'll label B, and this down here we'll label B. Okay, so the perimeter is 2A plus 2B. Okay, because you got some that are the same. And with this one, we will use the diagonals to figure out the area, kind of like the rhombus. We use the diagonals in the rhombus to find the area. So we'll say this might be D1 and this will be D2, and your perpendicular, they are perpendicular diagonals. So your area is 1/2 D1 times D2. Okay, which is the same formula that you can use for the rhombus. Okay, so with a trapezoid here, all your sides are different. Okay, and in fact, we're going to say that this one here is perpendicular in this case. It doesn't have to be. So we're going to label that H, and this is A, B, and C. Okay, if this isn't your perpendicular height, they'll have some other perpendicular height here. So with perimeter, you're just going to add up all the sides. So A plus B plus C plus H. For the area, okay, we can make a triangle here, or make a rectangle, but you're going to have to take this square and kind of cut it at some point and move it over here. So when you do that, you're finding the average length between A and B, and that's where you cut it. So you're going to take A plus B divided by 2. And then you're going to multiply it by the height, how tall the thing is. Okay, and those formulas are very similar to your isosceles, but the only difference with the isosceles trapezoid is 2 sides are the same. So you'll have A and A, B and C. And here we don't have 90 degrees, so we need this height here that is perpendicular. We'll call that H. Okay, so to find the perimeter, we're going to take 2A, because you got 2 of them, plus B plus C. And for the area, okay, whoop, you can't see that, sorry. For the area, it's going to be the same as the area of the other trapezoid, which in this case, it's different letters. So you're going to take C plus B divided by 2, and then times H. So you got to kind of figure out where to cut these things. So you'll chop this off, and really what you do is you kind of chop it off right here. And then you take this section of triangle and move it right here. So it creates this little spot right here. And then what you have is a nice rectangle that you can find the area of. Okay, so those are the formulas for our special quadrilaterals. And I will give you an IXL practice so that you can work through some of these problems, some of these formulas, so that you can practice up for the quiz. If you got any questions, feel free to reach out and ask them. See you in the next lesson.